Hi, this week on Snare Drum Etiquette, we're going to talk about the ultimate snare drum exercises. These exercises are going to focus on the four main playing areas that you need, whether you're trying to make your playing better, stronger, faster, more consistent, more musical, whether you're just trying to maintain and you're looking for something that you can just use that's quick and easy for maintenance, right? This is how I use these things every day. Or if you're someone that's trying to rebuild your chops, maybe you've taken a break and you're trying to get back into it and you want to just rebuild all the stuff you used to have and then keep going beyond anywhere you've ever been before with your abilities, right? These exercises will help all of those people accomplish those things. These are the meat and potatoes. They're simple, they're really effective, and it's why I've been using them with my students for a couple of decades. Since 2004, these have been the main things that help my students get through plateaus they might be on, learn new techniques a little bit faster, and I'm excited to show them to you today. So let's dive in. The first one is an 8 on a hand exercise. So we're going to play 8 hits with the right hand, 8 hits with the left hand, then we're going to alternate back and forth. All right. What we're going to do is put our metronome on. We're going to put it on 150 beats per minute and start here, okay? If this is too fast for you, that's okay. Set your metronome a little slower. If you're comfortable with this tempo, then grab some sticks and play along, all right? Here we go. 1, 2, right hand first, ready, go. All right, so that's 150. Your starting tempo should be a tempo that's comfortable. You want to be moving, you want to get the blood flowing before you start bumping the tempo up and challenging yourself. All right, the way that I use this exercise is mostly for maintenance right now, and I start at 150. I rep that 10 times. Then I bump it up to 160. I rep that 10 times. Then I bump it up to 170. And then I bump it up to 180, and that's usually where I stop. I just do 10 reps of each. If there's something going on in my playing that I need more speed for, then I'll bump it up a little higher. I'll go 190, I'll go 200, just to kind of keep those tempos fresh in my hands. But I also use this with students at 80 and 90, and if that's a comfortable starting spot for you, then that's the perfect place for you to start. These exercises, or any exercises, are only as effective as the way you use them. All right, so as you play this one, I want you to think about using good wrist strokes. All right, I want you to think about playing with some relaxation, especially at your starting tempos before you start building your speed. I want you to think about, let's do a better 8, yeah? I want you to think about using a metronome so you can track your speeds and know exactly how fast you're going. All of those things will help you play this more effectively. All right. So this is going to build your wrist endurance. It's going to build your speed. It's going to build your ear because you're listening for consistency of your sound. You're listening for the evenness of your note spacing. So it's going to help your musical ear as well. Cool. Next is going to be accents and taps, or downstrokes and upstrokes. All right, the ability for you to switch your hands from a downstroke to an upstroke smoothly and with a little bit of speed and have some tap strokes in between is your direct connection to playing with style and musicality. If we can't change from an upstroke to a downstroke and then back to an upstroke, we don't have the ability to play accents, we don't have the ability to change dynamics quickly, and those are all the things we need to start creating music that's not just flat and monotoned, okay? So here is our accent and tap exercise. I'm gonna use my metronome again just to keep me honest, and I'm gonna start it at 100 beats per minute. So if that's a comfortable tempo for you, Let's play together. If it's not, that's okay. Start your metronome wherever you need it to be. Start it at 50, start it at 60, whatever is comfortable for you, and then you work your way up. Here we go. 1, 2, right hand first. Yeah, both hands this time. Bonus round. All right, if you're playing along, I should have warned you, we did a bonus round in there. So we did both hands together at the end. This can be effective for you too. When you do that, try not to have any flams, but it's a great way to check that your stick heights are coming up together and that your sticks are flowing together. Okay, so you do it once with the right hand, once with the left hand, and then if you want to do a bonus round, you do both together. All right, what you're listening for, right? The musical connection here is, are every accent similar? Or do they have different sounds? I want you to try to start by making all of your accents the same sound, and then all of your tap strokes the same sound. Try not to have any wiggle room other than here and here. Those are our two sounds, okay? You need to go to tempo where you can control the downstroke. Okay, we don't want this. Did you hear how the volume of those two notes was more together? So these two notes are more similar in sound than these two notes. And you want to create the biggest contrast that you can if you want to have just the most chop potential to do anything that you might want to do musically. Okay, so you're listening for that big difference and then a consistency between those two sounds, the super accented and the super soft. All right, so that is our accent and tap exercise. Moving on to the third exercise. This one is about finger control, because as you get faster, say you're doing your 8 on a hand and you're at like 80 beats per minute, the back fingers, start to utilize the stick control portion of what you're doing more than the wrist. So kind of see there. We want to have some control of that. The accent and the tap. From accent to here, I gotta be honest with you, most of that control of that rebound happens 1, 2, 3 with these 3 fingers. They're the ones that control that rebound and stop that stick from doing this and just floating back up. Okay? So it's also gonna help you with your diddle control and the exercise we're gonna do after this one. Controlling nice open double strokes. Okay, so finger control exercise number 1. I'm going to slide over here so you can see better. You're just going to put your arm out and relax it. So you got a nice curvature there. That means you're relaxed. You're not tensing it up. And you're just going to hold the stick backwards, back towards the butt of the stick. And you're going to hold it like a normal stick and then relax it, right? And just use those fingers now to pull the stick up into your forearm. You don't have to hold it out like this, so you can do this if this is more comfortable, more of a natural playing position. Yeah, and just work on those finger control moments. You can do left hand as well. Watch out for your funny bones, because I'll tell you, it's not funny, you know? And you can go back and forth. You can play rudiments, you can play paradiddles. You can do 8 on a hand, but you're just working on controlling those sticks with just your fingers. What I don't want to see when you do this is wrist. Okay, that's not going to help with the finger control. So just let it curve, kind of immobilize it right there. Okay. Number 2 finger control exercise is something that I took from timpani exercises because I play American grip on timpani, and if you don't know what that is, that's fine. But there are some finger control exercises that I kind of transferred to just using snare drum stuff, and it helps. It helps get your fingers moving independently and freely and controlling the feel of the stick. So you're just gonna go here like this, and then you're gonna switch fingers after a while to here. Then you're gonna switch fingers again to here, okay? So you're gonna do, let's aim for 10 or so, right on the pad. 7, 8, 9, 10, switch fingers. 7, 8, 9, switch fingers. So then work your way back to the middle finger. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, pointer. Okay, so that's another thing that can help get your fingers moving and grooving a little bit. Again, do that right hand, do that left hand if you play matched grip. If you play traditional grip, I'm going to give you a different sort of thing. You're going to kind of relax with your bottom fingers and your middle finger. They're going to kind of remove themselves from the stick. Your thumb's going to stay there to stabilize the stick. And your pointer finger is going to sort of pulse the stick. So I'm going to try to minimize my movement here and let it all be pointer finger controlled. This can be a great way to just teach that that finger is sort of the primary finger for most of your playing. And we can talk more about my philosophy on traditional grip in other videos. We'll get to that, okay? But just kind of pulse that stick like here. All right? So those are the finger control exercises. They help you when you're building speed. They help you play lighter. They help you with diddle control. So that is finger control. Excellent. And the final exercises in the collection of the ultimate exercises are exercises for double strokes, double bounce, rolls, okay? For this one, if you play traditional grip with a slant, I suggest flattening out your practice pad a little bit, okay? I'm also gonna raise my practice pad a little bit just because when I play flat, I like it to be higher. And again, we can talk about that philosophy for days too, but we'll talk about that later. I'm gonna add this just because I want it to be a little higher, and it helps get the harness here out of the way of that snare stand. Here's the first tool that will benefit you for this exercise. This is a gardening kneeling pad. You can get it in the garden section of any kind of store that has a garden section. I think I picked this up at True Value. So just a cheap, this isn't the expensive one, $3 or $4 foam pad. And you're gonna use this. This is gonna get rid of any sort of rebound or most of the rebound that you might get from a practice pad or from a snare drum head. I'm about to say some stuff that you might not have ever heard before. It might be contradictory to your philosophies or the things you've learned in the past. But if you're willing to try something new, this could really help you. And what I'm going to say is that your bounces when you roll should not be created by the tension of the drum head. Okay? Your double bounces should be controlled completely by your chops. The stick should not be forcibly bouncing off of the drum head, and you shouldn't be trying to control that bounce. Let me give you an example. I'm not gonna throw the stick in like that and then control the wild bounce that comes off of it. Instead, I'm gonna put the stick into the drum, and as soon as it makes contact with the surface, I'm gonna pull it up. But I'm letting the stick bounce still, okay? And if you try this, you hear how even you get little buzzes sometimes when you're playing, and if that's an issue you're having, this is gonna help clean that up. But if you're throwing the stick in too hard, and relying on that pad, throw the stick back up at you, you're really doing this. That's not control. That's not a roll, okay? And I can be a bit of a stickler about this with my students, they can tell you, but it's with good intentions. When I was in high school, I developed an injury in my hand. I developed a bruised muscle in here on my hand because I played with so much tension. And part of that tension came from me trying to control the rebound of the stick by squeezing here to create good, even rolls. And my rolls sounded pretty good, but if you watched me, there was so much tension in my hand because I was forcing the stick into the head, which was forcing the stick to come up, and then I was forcing the control to only be 2 bounces instead of the 3 or 4 or 5 that it might have wanted to be, okay? So this is gonna take away that bounciness. And if you pull the sound out of the drum head, as soon as it starts to touch the head, you're pulling it back, and you're gonna get a nice, even sound. Okay, so here's the exercise. Gonna be 9-stroke roll focused. 1 E and a roll, 1 E and a roll, 1 E and a 2 E and a roll, roll. 1 E and a roll, 1 E and a roll, 1 E and a 2 E and a roll, roll. 1 E and a roll, 1 E and a roll, 1 E and a 2 E and a roll. 1 E and a roll, 1 E and a 2 E and a roll, roll and stop. So if you can control your sticks like that, your chops, your finger control are working together to create that double bounce, your playing is going to be smoother, it's going to be more relaxed, you're going to have more control, you're going to be playing with more musicality as well. So if you don't have one of those, or if you don't feel like you have time to get one before you want to work on this, all you need is a hand towel, all right? And all you're going to do is fold that hand towel in half. And this actually gets a little more challenging than that does too, so if you want to challenge, grab the hand towel. But that's just easier if you wanted to do like an hour of practice on that. That's awesome. So, you do the same exact exercise. And the towel takes away that rebound from the drum head or from the practice pad. Once you got that feeling good, you're going to fold it in half again. It's becoming a little more challenging now. I want you to think about bouncing on just this top layer or this top half of the towel. If your stick gets pressed below those two, you have 0 rebound left. But you can rebound off of this soft surface. You can bounce on this soft surface. The trick is to play light, and the trick is to pull the sticks away as soon as it makes contact. Okay, so it'll be harder to hear, but see if you can hear this. All right, so now with this step, if you have a partner or someone around you, you can have them come by and pull the towel away, and it will allow you to keep playing with that same feeling of lightness and lift that you had, and you'll really get to hear what it sounds like on a practice pad. And a lot of times when I pull the towel away from my students, they just like look at me and their eyes get huge because it's like, I've never heard myself roll like that before. And it's such a super cool sound and experience. If you got this happening and you want a bigger challenge, you're gonna fold this in half one more time. This gets pretty tricky now, and I'm almost positive we're not gonna be able to hear this in the microphone. But if you're controlling the stick and getting it to lift out of this first layer of towel, you can still control double strokes. Have a listen. Right? So then you kick this away. And then from that, we can talk about creating louder sounds in a healthy way. But that's where you got to start if you want your rolls to be controlled, if you want to have good touch to your playing, if you want to have musicality to your playing, and if you want to play healthy. All right? I can't take credit for coming up with this. I was, as a young college student, I took some lessons with a gentleman by the name of John Pratt, and he would hold out a dollar bill and he'd test your rolls on the surface of the dollar bill, and he would, you know, create as much or as little tension as he wanted by pulling it. And sometimes it would be sagging in a loose dollar bill, and you were trying to play 7-stroke rolls on it. And so that's where I started to think about this concept of touch and lift and true control of a bounce stroke. Later on, I studied a little bit more significantly with a gentleman by the name of Nick Attanasio. If you don't know him, just YouTube him and bass drum, and you'll see just some phenomenal, he changed the scope of rudimental bass drumming, all on his own. Absolute best human I've met, but he also would, he'd have me play on super soft surfaces. He would talk about having his students sometimes play on a big spaghetti pot full of water and getting them to create double strokes on the water. And if you don't, your sticks just kind of sink in and get soaked. So those gentlemen were the ones that really got me thinking about ways I can really get a better control, like have true control of my sticks instead of relying on this surface of the pad or the stick, the snare drum, to create control for me. Because that's not control, that's reactivity, right? You're reacting to the drum head. Control the drum head. Okay, so I'm going to get off my soapbox there for a minute, but these 4 different areas are so essential for developing our chops. Anytime that I've had a student who's feeling plateaued and needs to go to a different level for whatever they're working on, we always return back to these. All right, and what we talked about today is just the meat and potatoes. There are different variations of each of these concepts, right? There's tons of different exercises for each of these areas as well. But for me, I always go back to those. You know, some of the other ones, it's great to have different variations if you need variety in your practicing. Totally understand that. I'm one of these people who just like, I don't know, I just don't need that. And that's just me. And that's okay. And if you need it, that's okay too, because we can do that. We'll go through all these different variations in other videos, so you can just have some variety in your practicing, so you're not just chunking away 8 on a hand for 25 years. We can create a little variety for you too. But this is it. These are, I think, the most important areas. Okay, so give them a try. Put in the comment section if they're working for you. Let me know what you're having success with. Let me know what kind of questions you might have, because we can try to make it work or tweak things for you and your needs. And just keep playing drums, all right? Have a great day. I'll see you next week.